Sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, Aimfill is here to make you fly. Sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, Aimfill is here to make you fly. Here we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
ma'am.
Afternoon.
Alright, great. Okay, guys, I have checked your presentations yesterday and all the videos which those who have sent. They are very good. Most of you have done a very good job. So I have given you marks for that, and that has been sent to the faculty regarding that. Okay. So today, as we were discussing aviation management from last 3-4 sessions, right? Okay. So anybody has any doubt regarding that? Anything you want me to reiterate? Because I'm just looking for a video which is regarding the aviation management, and I will show you that video today. Okay, but you have to bear with me for a few minutes. By the time, just revise the previous things, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me. All right. Otherwise, I'll ask you questions. Yes, Shubham.
Yesterday I was not there, so my presentation is not shown.
Just share your screen and show us the presentation. And it is regarding?
Decompression.
Okay, let's start.
Just so start. Okay. Hello.
Yes, Shubham, please start.
Okay. Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, to me, yes.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon everyone. I am Master Shubham Mishra, and today I will going to explain you what is decompression and types of decompression, as well as what are the roles of cabin crew during the situation. Please have a look to my video. So to understand this topic in much better way, have a look to this video. Before we proceed with the types of decompression, let me explain you what is decompression. When the aircraft is at 35,000 feet from the ground, aircraft has its own air pressure or oxygen maintained in itself. Therefore, decompression means the loss of cabin pressure. It rarely happens that aircraft faces any structural damage, major or minor. The aircraft start losing its pressure, due to which two types of decompression can happen. The first is rapid decompression and second is slow decompression. As we all know that the aircraft fly at 35,000 feet from the ground, we will first learn about the rapid decompression. The first thing we must remember is that the rapid decompression is unplanned emergency. Rapid decompression means any structural damage to the aircraft which results in decompression The first thing that we must remember that is it is an unplanned emergency. Now we will come to know how we will come to know there is a rapid decompression. Firstly, there will be a loud bang noise for the freezing. Secondly, condensation will take place as immediately. And also the oxygen mass will drop down. The temperature will go in rapidly in minus. So this was all about rapid decompression. Now we will learn about slow decompression. This decompression will not come to know easily to the passengers. The low amount of oxygen leakage from the pressurized cabin is called slow decompression. Just after the sometimes the captain notices the temperature of the cabin too starts becoming cold. Passengers will start suffering from nausea, dizziness, and headache. The cabin crew members will start the situation as well as the passengers by giving instructions. देवियों और सज्जनों, कृपया बैठ जाइए और तुरंत अपनी कुर्सी की पेटी बांध लीजिए। हमने कैबिन में हवा के दबाव के अचानक नुकसान का अनुभव किया है। Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down and fasten your seatbelt immediately. We have experienced a sudden loss of cabin pressure. शांत रहे और मास्क को अपनी ओर खींचे। मास्क को शांत रहे और मास्क को अपनी ओर खींचे। मास्क को अपने नाक और मुंह पर रखें और सामान्य रूप से सांस लें। जब तक हमारे कप्तान द्वारा सलाह न दी जाए तब तक मास्क को न हटाएं। Remain calm and pull the mask towards you. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Do not remove the mask until advised by the crew members. The pilot then decrease the height of aircraft from the ground, that is from 35,000 to 13,000 from the ground, so that there is enough oxygen received by the passengers. Whereas the cabin crew, after reaching to the 13,000 feet from the ground, the captain will give command to the crew members that is, it's safe to move in cabin. The crew members will follow the instructions of captain and see to it there is no passengers in the lavatory, as well as none of the passengers is fainting or facing any problem in taking oxygen. If the crew members notices any of the situation, he or she will immediately inform to the captain and give the notice to the captain, and the captain will do the emergency landing.
The only thing which I found a little here and there is that your presentation and whatever you were explaining is not in sync. You know, the slides are going further and you are explaining something else.
Yes.
So the sync is the only thing, but the best thing is the announcement which you just did it in between, and that is the correct way to do it. And I love the presentation. That is nice.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yes.
I'll make this video and I'll send it to I think.
Yes. Do you have the mail ID?
So told me to send on WhatsApp group, so
Okay, send it on the WhatsApp group, and I will get this, and I will update the marks accordingly. Okay.
okay now.
All right. Great. Anyone else who wants? Yes, Shubham.
Do you like my video?
I am not in that group, but they will send me.
Ma'am, I am asking you, do you like my presentation?
Do you like my presentation?
Did you like my presentation?
Yes, of course I liked it, Shubham. As I said, it's just not in the sync, but I like the presentation and I like. Tell me what is DGCA?
Directorate General of Civil Aviation.
Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Yes, right. What is the function of DGCA?
They are the head of the civil aviation in India.
Yes, right. So what they do?
Okay. They will be checking the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, and they will be we have to follow everything. There will be inquiries between here and there, and they will also do the investigations if some accidents are happening.
Okay, yes, right. Okay. So, and what is ICAO?
ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what is their function?
They are the founder of aviation, dean of aviation.
Mm-hmm. So what exactly they do?
They will be making the rules for DGCA and all the airport authority that is there on the country.
No,
we have to make
not for DGCA only. They make rules in terms of aviation in order to make it a little better, and each and every country is supposed to follow them. Airport authority, that is something else. Okay. Now, who will tell me what is Airport Authority of India? What is their function? What they do? Who will tell me Airport Authority in India what they does?
Ma'am, can
Yes, Veena, go ahead.
if there is one new airport is coming some place, they will be doing the all the requirements to make the airport like they will be inspecting the places and all and making the requirements for that, like they checking the noise pollution and everything.
Right.
So they will be making rules and regulations for that.
Right. So, Airport Authority of India, what it does, they check all the airports in India. They have some SOPs in order to make the airport also. So, all the SOPs has been followed properly or not, how many runways, where is the terminal building for the domestic, for the international, all these things, Airport Authority of India will take care of these things. Okay, and all the airports are answerable to AAI, that is Airport Authority India. Okay. What else we discussed in aviation management? Okay, what is FO?
First officer.
Okay, what is what else? ICAO, DGCA, AAI, FO. Okay, what is the difference between cargo and commercial aircraft?
Cargo aircraft are the ones it will also transport the goods and things like that, and commercial aircraft will be carrying passengers as well from one destination to the other.
Okay, that's right. I'm just looking for the video regarding that, so just give me 2 minutes between cargo and commercial.
This is probably the best restaurant in the sky. Oh, every little inch is precious here on the 747 cargo. We don't need any Q suites on this airplane. I'm going to show you something even better. Who need first class? Let's quickly go back to the upper deck because we just go to seatbelt, there's a turbulence. There you go, your full flat bed in the sky. I have superpower. I'm gonna use one of my finger to pull the container forward. It's been a long time dream for me. Today gonna fly on a cargo plane. And what's better than the one behind me, the 747-8 cargo of Qatar Airways. Let's fly together, guys. It's really, really crazy weather outside in Hong Kong, but the cargo loading just started onto the 747-8. So let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Guillaume Maleux. I'm the Chief Officer Cargo for Qatar Airways. We are very pleased to welcome Sam today on board our 747-8 freighter from Hong Kong to Doha. Very unique flight today, fully loaded, as quite often with Hong Kong. We expect 34 positions main deck of cargo. We expect one engine connecting in Doha into Madrid. And very soon, Alberto will open the nose door for us so that, Sam, you can show our viewers from the outside the unique feature of that airplane.
Well, this is really, really crazy weather. A non-stop torrential rain in Hong Kong. But look at it, 747 nose is about to open to load the cargo in. I'm soaking wet, but this is the operation that must go on. I mean, I'm with all the people who work hard on the front line, the operation. You must load all the cargo in the plane, and in about 40 minutes, we're closing the door to take off. So hats off to all the people who work under rain or shine like this.
This unit here, as you can see, is a rubber wheel. It's called the Power Drive Unit, PDU. It basically helps the traction of the pallet inside the main deck so that the staff and our colleagues don't have to push very hard. Each pallet can go up to 7 tons for one position, but sometimes we even have 20 tons pallet, so nobody can really move it. Those roller blades here are actually helping also the movement. So be careful where you step because I don't want you to fall down.
I'm on the flight deck at the nose here, and just one more pallet will come in through the 747 nose. There's already one right here, which I filmed from down under the plane. So there's one more from this position gonna come in. What's happening, Alberto?
So now, due to the heavy rain, the pallets are a lot of water on top of the...
Oh, the water's on top of the pallets.
Yeah, so we have to get rid of all these excess water. So that's why they're bringing the pallet down so that they can remove that excess water.
Shake it off.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's part of the job. So.
Yeah, look at all this water on the pallet. Yeah, get rid of the water. Too wet. So this is how you lock it?
Yeah.
Can I try?
Yeah. Yep. And then make sure to click down.
Oh, sorry. Lift it up?
Yep.
Yeah, clicks down.
There you go.
We're like fully loaded from Hong Kong here, ready to go. Look at it, it's still wet. Everything is plastic sealed.
So Sam, I want you to see and observe this pallet and the next one. Look how high it is. It's actually a couple of centimeters from the ceiling of that main deck. This is pure optimization of the space we have on that freighter. This is how we maximize the aircraft and we move as much cargo as possible in an efficient way.
Barely made this sword.
See how precise it is?
Precise, yes.
So
wow.
People like Rolls-Royce, when they design an engine, or GE, they make sure that the maximum size fits the cargo doors of the aircraft available in the market. Because they know that otherwise nobody can transport it.
That's right. Talk about real estate here. Every little inch is precious here on the 747 cargo. Just barely fits the ceiling of the cargo deck here, this engine. They're still having trouble moving, so it's going back and forth at the moment.
So Sam, what you just saw is called the turn. The turn meaning when the pallet enters perpendicular to the airplane, then they have to turn it 90 degrees in order to load it.
So now the engine is in position. What we'll do is listen to the low master and apply tie down on the engine. We'll spend approximately 20 minutes on the tie down.
Normally, we use these locks on the floor to secure the pallets on the aircraft. But for this type of loading, which is center loaded on the 747, we have to use straps. We cannot use locks to secure the cargo. That's why we are having all these straps to secure the cargo. There's nothing else holding this pallet to the aircraft.
On each side of the 747 freighter, you have a narrow passage you can come through because the whole main deck everywhere in the center is occupied by the cargo pallets. And today we have full cargo pallets. This plane is huge, taking 135 tons capacity of cargo.
Hi guys, I'm Captain Ursel. Today doing the freighter flight, Qatar Airways cargo to Doha from Hong Kong on our beautiful 747-8. And let's move on with the outside inspection. Okay, before each flight we check that all wheels are in a good position, that there is nothing wrong with them. All the tire pressure is good, nothing leaking. We have our landing lights, everything looks nice. Entrance of the pitot tube is not blocked or something. That's very important for us.
You mean this tube?
Yes.
This is a sensor, right?
This is a sensor. It takes the air, and we have also static sensors. And according to what they have as an input, we get the airspeed out of these, and also other things. Here we check that everything is good with our powerful GANX2 Bravo 67 engine. We check downstairs that there is nothing leaking. No hydraulic, no fuel, and then proceed forward to check our in-blade. A huge engine being loaded in our aircraft. It's
I was told Rolls-Royce Trent 700.
Exactly, the one used on the Airbus 330. And of course, since it's so big, we have to strap it down very tightly.
You want an extra strap down?
Exactly, to have a safe flight today.
So you do the final check before you sign off?
Exactly. Before we close the doors, I come down and check all the locks and everything inside the main deck. And thereafter, if I agree with everything, I do sign off the load sheet and we close the doors and go.
And now I'm just climbing up the stairs to go to the upper deck where the pilots fly, and where also there's a crew rest where I'm gonna sit today as a passenger on the 747 cargo.
Suggest you to keep your seatbelts fastened. Yep. If we see anything that there will be in turbulence, or we are already in turbulence, sometimes it's a clear air turbulence we cannot see before, we'll set the seatbelt signs on, so you just sit. If there is anything today during the departure, if we have to abort the takeoff, for example, I will call you guys supernumeraries. So if I say supernumeraries, be seated, just keep seated, don't stand up. We don't use this door for any emergency. We have another door right here. If we tell you to evacuate in such a case, which will open
right here.
Yeah, we have this one. And in such a case, we would always already come to you, and we would open the door, push out the slide, and then we would slide down altogether.
These are the seats on the 747-8 upper deck. There's 6 seats, 2 private bunk beds at the back. Ciao, Giancarlo.
Hello.
Today, first officer from Italy.
Today on our flight from Hong Kong to Doha, it will be around 7 hours and 35 minutes. We will cruise initially at an altitude of 30,000 feet, since we are really topped up today, fully loaded, and thereafter, after using some more fuel, we plan to climb to 32,000 feet to continue until Doha.
Captain, I want to know, like, you fly 747-8 cargo. Have you flown passenger flights? I want to know what kind of difference as a pilot flying cargo compared to flying passenger.
Yeah, I did passenger flights as well before. I feel that cargo flights are a little bit easier for the crew.
Yeah.
There is no passengers, nothing to wait for. If the load is finished, you just close the doors and go.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
good to go.
Qatari 8419 behind the landing 777, line up and wait, runway 07 right, behind.
Behind landing traffic, line up and wait 07 right, behind the Qatari 8419.
Qatari 8419, wind at the upwind end 100 degrees, 18 knots, runway 07 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear to take off 07 right, Qatari 8419. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
LNAV. Thrust and minnow speed.
419, contact departures on 123 decimal 8, see ya.
123.8, Qatari 8419, bye.
Fly over Bangladesh, Calcutta, north of Bombay, over Arabian Sea. We're flying over north, over the Strait of Hormuz, down to Qatar. So after takeoff, we're all getting hungry.
Yes.
Alberto is the low master. I think you are also the chef on this flight.
I will be on board today.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of meals on the cargo plane we have. Gourmet, 5-star Qatar Airways food.
That we call the magic box. So we have a
Magic box.
Yes, I don't know what's.
Let's have a look. What's the magic?
So. Snacks, cookies.
Oh, this is nice. This is like a nut.
Yeah.
Right. Cookies. Wheat Bix.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Plus, we also have tea, coffee. Very important.
Oh, Nairobi coffee. Oh yes, cup noodles.
Of course. We have salmon.
Salmon. Oh.
We also have chicken. And pasta.
What's this one? Pasta. There's no flight attendant, so you gotta help yourself. Come to the galley here, order your food, and help yourself. Much quicker though. But there's 6 seats on the upper deck on the 747-8 freighter here. I mean, like, these seats are not really the cute suites, but they do recline pretty deep. It's like an old lazy boy. It feels very, very comfy.
In order to go downstairs, we have to carry this oxygen bottle because there's no oxygen mask like in a passenger aircraft. So this is in case of a decompression. So in case we need it, you just open the valve, place the mask, breathe normally. That's it.
Now I'm just going downstairs. So now I'm wearing this oxygen mask in case of decompression. Just going down to the deck to take a look at all the cargoes. I was just looking out this window. There's amazing engine view. Okay, let's go continue now. Well, coming to the middle of the fuselage where the engine is now.
So these flashing lights mean that the seatbelt sign has been turned on, so we have to return to the main deck because of the turbulence. So
let's quickly go back to the upper deck because we need to go to seatbelt. There's a turbulence. Oh, I can tell you, carrying this oxygen mask, it's a couple kilos. It's not easy. Oh, better sit down and seatbelt now. Captain, the CV, what's the ceiling like? It looks really above us.
According to the weather charts we have today, it's going up to 45,000 feet. It's well above us, so there is no other chance than avoiding them, as we just are doing right now.
You are making small adjustment, trying to go around,
Exactly.
going not going through. Okay.
Exactly. It would be real dangerous to go inside those clouds. And we are just going, we try to do smallest adjustments. Sometimes we have to do larger ones, like right now we are 30 miles to the right of our track, but we have to do it. There is no other chance to avoid them.
So now I'm going to show you the best thing. We don't need any Q suites on this airplane. I'm going to show you something even better than a Q suite. Follow me. Now look at this. I have my own private bedroom here. There you go. Your full flat bed in the sky on the 747-8. There's nothing better than this. Your feet doesn't hit the wall, and you know, you got all the room. Look at how wide this seat is, and it's full flat. It's like a mattress on here. This is better than all the business class seats I have tried out. Self-serving, and now I'm going to the cockpit for my meal. What a great place to have a meal at. This is probably the best restaurant in the sky. Oh, look at this, beautiful. Huh? Nothing better, cruising 34,000 feet just below the Indian coast on our way toward the Arabian Sea and having my second meal in the cockpit.
Qatari 8419, runway 34 right, clear to land, surface wind 020 degrees, 05 knots.
Clear to land for right, Qatari 8419.
On local distance taxi, approach main distance.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed break up.
Qatari 8 Hotel Tango, ILS 34 right, BOE is 136. Qatari 8 Hotel Tango, Tower East, continue approach, QNH 909 at 8 hectopascals.
Welcome to Doha. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you have enjoyed the flight. Hope to see you on another flight at Qatar Airways. Alright, thank you, Carlo. Thank you very much.
This is your last flight, I heard, before you go back to your home country.
Yes, that's
Station
correct.
at your home country.
That's correct.
Are you going to miss this?
Of course, this
Big
is
time.
an amazing job, so I really enjoyed all this time here in Doha, so it's time to go home.
Well, thank you so much looking after me on the flight. I learned so much, and this is a flight to remember.
Yes, of course, even for me, I will remember this for a very long time. Thank you very much also.
And guys, it's not the end. We haven't shown you all the cargo facilities, loading, offloading activities in Doha, so stay tuned. Super humid in Doha here, but nothing better than walking down on the 747. What a glorious arrival.
Hamad International Airport Cargo Campus. This is our hub. This is where all the transit cargo that came to Doha will be broken down, sorted, and put on a connecting flight again. Similar process as the passengers. So this is an example of a lower deck pallet that is ready to go and to be loaded. The three components, the aluminium sheet, this is the base of the pallet. The boxes.
Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we'll be talking about the recent trend of passenger planes being converted into cargo planes due to the COVID-19 outbreak. What is the reason for airlines to strip and refit their aircraft? What special considerations need to be taken into account? And why is this such a big deal? It's time to convert, so let's get started.
All right, Surgeon 4 Charlie, heavy, 3-1 left, right Alpha, short of Juliet.
Today's video is brought to you by the Captain Joe merch shop. Click the link in the description box below to get your Captain Joe Remove Before Flight keyring. You know that every true aviator needs one of these, so therefore we ship around all the world. We accept all types of payments, so if it's either for you, a family member, or a friend of yours who is an aviation enthusiast and you want to gift in one of those, go to the link in the description box below and get one of these babies. They're just kick-ass cool and they're red. First things first, what is going on in the aviation industry? There's absolutely no plane to be seen in the sky. Well, the coronavirus has taken control entirely, except for the cargo operators, but more about that in a few seconds. However, since my coronavirus video at the end of February, we all know the virus has spread rapidly around the world, with the US recently passing 300,000 confirmed cases, and 93% of the world's population are living in countries with some form of border restriction, ranging from banning travelers from specific countries all the way to some nations banning all entry to their country entirely. Now, because of these unprecedented border controls being put into place, as well as numerous travel bans and a downturn in the economy, many airlines are seeing their demand of flights dry out like never before. Many are operating at a tiny fraction of their expected demand, with some being grounded completely or only for charter flights responding to the virus outbreak. Because of this downturn, many passenger airlines, such as American Airlines, are facing financial uncertainty and huge losses from the drop in revenue. It is important to remember that almost all the fixed costs have remained for airlines, with the notable exception, no fuel costs, since aircraft aren't flying no more. But airlines are still paying to keep the planes airworthy, staff salaries, irregular airport fees for parking, high airplane leases fees, and countless other costs. Now, this means that many passenger airlines are seeing money quickly disappear and therefore are desperately looking for solutions to avoid bankruptcy. Whilst cutting staff payments is one of the ways to reduce the costs, in my opinion that should always be the last resort, but airline managers always seem to cut salaries first. Many airlines are now looking at the option of flying cargo-only flights as a way to keep the aircraft flying and making at least some money. Now, some airlines, such as Air New Zealand, are flying international cargo flights on behalf of their country's government to collect vital medical supplies or deliver time-sensitive cargo such as perishable exports. Now, one of those flights from Singapore to Auckland using a Boeing 787-9, which is capable of carrying over 300 passengers, only carried 4 passengers plus the crew. How's that for a premium service right there? Now, it's pretty obvious that the airline wouldn't have made any money on such a small number of passengers, but the key is the massive cargo holds, normally filled with passenger bags, now being free for additional cargo. Now, some airlines are taking this idea even further by using the passenger areas for extra cargo space to carry more goods, especially equipment like ventilators, which are needed so desperately in Europe and North America. Now, you may ask, why is this such a big deal? How hard can it be to convert a passenger plane to a cargo plane? Well, the reason is because many of these airlines have either never flown pure cargo operations or haven't done so for a very long time. Now, think of it like asking a cruise ship company to start carrying freight containers instead of passengers. Whilst it may be possible to use the cruise ship for freight, it isn't what the vessel was designed for, and it is certainly not what the crew would be used to. The same can be said here. For example, Delta Airlines have been flying transatlantic cargo-only flights using the new Airbus A350-900 and the Boeing 777-200, each capable of carrying between 40 to 50 tons of cargo. Now, if we take the Boeing 777-200 that they are using as a comparison to a freight aircraft, the 777 Freighter, which is specifically designed for freight operations, can carry just over 103 tons. That's more than double the payload on two very similar models of aircraft. And the reason therefore is obviously that the 777 Freighter or the 747 Freighters, which I fly, are equipped specifically to load cargo pallets and containers. Now just notice here how flat the floor in the 747 Freighter is. The cargo can easily be moved around with these electric rollers and can be filled with virtually anything. So now consider that a passenger aircraft contains 300 seats, as well as a galley areas, multiple toilets, entertainment systems and all that, and you'll see why the difference in the maximum capacity is so vast. So Joe, why not just remove the seats? Well, that's a great question, but unfortunately it isn't as simple as that, as just pulling out the seats and then filling the plane with cargo instead. Freighter planes feature a number of less obvious but important design differences, as reinforced floors, special sliders, floor locks and tie downs, as well as emergency equipment for cargo fires, and of course the huge cargo doors needed for the containers to be loaded. This is all highly engineered and requires extensive conversion maintenance to be approved for use, so it's not just possible for airliners to just change back and forward quickly. So for more information about the conversion of a 747 and the operation of its special nose cargo door, check out this video right here. How do airliners then fill the cabin with cargo anyway? Well, the answer will differ from airline to airline, since this isn't a standard procedure in their operations, but in general, if an airline wishes to load cargo into the cabin, it will be secured by netting or tie downs to the passenger seat, similar to loading a large box into your car's back seat and then putting the seatbelt around it. Now, of course, the cargo will be secured much more tightly in case of turbulence and to stop it rolling around during turns. And as an example, you can see here a group of staff of Virgin Atlantic standing with the delivery of medical supplies, which is secured to passenger seats using netting to stop the cargo from being damaged in flight. Wizz Air, for example, flies their new Airbus A320neos all the way to Shanghai, including 2 fuel stops, then load up the passenger seats and belly with medical supplies for their home country, Hungary. Well done, Wizz Air. These flights are essential at this time for continuing the fight against COVID-19 and may again be necessary in the future to help with other humanitarian crises. I take my hat off to all my brave colleagues, crew, ground staff and anyone else involved in this operation, as well as any medical or logistics staff involved in helping the world getting through this outbreak. You guys are awesome, so thank you very much for the work you're doing. That's it for today. If you have any more questions about aircraft cargo operations or maybe some other aviation question, please be sure to check out my other videos or ask in the comment section below for the chance to have your question answered in a future video. Thank you very much for your time. Here's your checklist for today. Subscribe to my channel, check. Activate the notification bell, check. Follow my Instagram account, check. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning. Wishing you all the best during these uncertain times and hope you all stay safe and home and healthy. Your Captain Jack.
Alright guys, do you have any questions? Any question? Anyone wants to ask something? Otherwise I'll ask the question. Switch on the cameras please, everyone. On the camera.
During a long transportation, do they have any cabins on board for the flight?
Sorry, during the long...
Like long haul flights, 14 hours cargo flight, do they have any cabin crews on board because for the flight crew?
Yes. There will be cabin crew because they cannot fly without a cabin crew. But as per in a commercial aircraft where the passengers are, we need minimum 10 crew at one point of time if we are flying Boeing 777. Okay, but in cargo flights, because we don't have any passengers, we need cabin crew for the cockpit crew only. So if there are 2 cockpit crew in that aircraft, we need, I guess, 3 cabin attendants to serve them, and they will take shifts also. So there's no only one cabin crew will do the work throughout. They will take proper rest and then they will serve the cockpit accordingly. So you don't need 10 crew in case there is a cargo flight, because there are no passengers. You don't have to take care of any passenger, and you don't need to open the doors for evacuation. So that's why you don't need the cabin crew equals to number of doors. 2 or 3 cabin crew, those who can open the front door in case of emergency and evacuate along with the pilots. So you don't need 10 number of crews. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now who will tell me that why we, okay, first thing, can we remove the seats if we want to carry the cargo? Commercial aircraft. Okay, we can, but is it easy to remove the seats and then put it back?
No.
No, it's not, because commercial aircraft has a total different layout from inside, and the cargo is totally different. In commercial, your equipments, the place of your equipment is also very essential. So if you are turning it into a cargo flight, then you have to remove everything inside the aircraft, even the equipments and everything, along with the seats. So that's not easy to take it out and then keep it back. The equipment you need to keep back, everything. So that's why they just let the seats inside only, inside the aircraft, and they put the cargo on the seats itself and secure it. Right? So why do they need to secure the cargo? Because there is no passenger in the cabin, right? So nobody will get hurt. Why they secure it?
Because the goods may get damaged if there is some.
Exactly. So could be a possibility the goods or the cargo, whatever it is, it may get damaged, first thing, and the second thing, it may damage the aircraft also. Because if it is very heavy and it just break the window of the aircraft, then there will be a decompression, right? So then there will be a problem. So we will not do that. Everything, whenever you are flying with passengers or without passengers, everything should be secured properly. Alright? Okay, any other question you guys have? Anything you guys want to ask me? Alright, so let's watch this video, cargo pilots versus passenger pilots. Okay, so it's actually a debate between a cargo flight passenger and a commercial flight passenger. Wait, commercial flight pilot. Sorry, my bad.
Hi everybody, mentor in the podcast always doing absolutely fantastic. On the video today, guys, I'm going to talk about the difference between flying passengers and flying cargo, especially during the ongoing crisis. But then I realized, maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this, given that I haven't flown cargo myself. So what we'll do instead is we'll head over to Kelsey from 74th Gear, and let's see what he has to say about it. Stay tuned.
Wind 31016, Berlin right, set on. Turn lane 31 right. Delta 26,
Kelsey, how are things?
I'm good. How you doing, Peter?
Oh, well, you know, sitting here 26 days into the quarantine, but I'm doing great. Where are you?
Right now I'm in LA. As you can see, I'm about to go to work. I got a quick flight going up to Anchorage, Alaska here in a few hours. So.
Cool. How long is that flight?
I want to say it's about 5.5 hours. I haven't looked at the release yet. I wanted to do this, and then I'm going to look at all the paperwork before I head out to the plane.
Sounds reasonable. Listen, yeah. So I wanted to do a video here, really trying to explain to people what, if any, differences there are between cargo pilots and passenger pilots. So, first of all, the question I want to ask you: did you need to take any special license in order to fly cargo?
No, it would be, there's 737s that are cargo only, so it's what's behind you is there's really no difference. So there's no different type rating or anything like that you have to do. It's just, and honestly, I'm sure you know this, when you're flying, even when you have a plane full of people would ask me sometimes, are you nervous right before landing? And you kind of forget about everything there, right? The door's there, you're kind of just closed off and focused on what you're doing, and you don't really feel, oh my gosh, there's all these people here who are judging me. At least I don't. So when I'm flying passengers or when I'm flying cargo, that is really no difference. Really, one of the main differences is just trying to make some of the, climbing or descending a little bit smoother if I have passengers on board.
Really?
Yeah, because otherwise...
Like I fully agree with you. I never think about the fact that I have passengers behind me when I'm flying. I try to do, the same type of flying that I do all the time. I always try to do nice landings. I always try to do safe, kind of turnaround, things like that. So for me, it's absolutely no difference. But the real point I wanted to make here, obviously, is that the licenses are the same. You get your CPL multi-engine instrument rating, your MCC course, and once you have that, you can start applying for jobs. But let's have a look at some of the differences then. So for example, I will have a 25-minute turnaround. So that means that I will turn up the gate, and then I will get all of the passengers off. We will be cleaning the cabin, we'll be refueling, we'll be getting the passengers on, and then we'll go. How does a turnaround look for you?
For the most part, we don't do, usually it's just one leg and done, generally. It's one leg for me and I'm done. But when we do have to do two legs, if they're doing what they call download and upload, so they got to do a full download, so take everything off of our plane, our main deck and our bellies, and re-upload. Depending on the base that we're at in the world, it can be 2 to 3 hours.
So you should say at this point as well, for those who doesn't know about your excellent YouTube channel, that Kelsey flies the 747 and specifically the Dreamlifter. So
yeah, so I do. So there's two different types of, when you're doing the Dreamlifter, there's no. Well, I guess there are turns that we do. There's a couple of legs that we do where we land, and even then it's same. It's like 2 to 3 hours, but it's not a lot of freight that's going in and out, obviously. But on your typical any other airport that we go to, there's a lot of pallets that have to come off. So it can be 2 to 3 hours, and that is honestly more tiring than anything, because you're just, it's kind of like if you have a 2 or 3 hour sit at the airport and you're just sitting there waiting for your next flight, You'd rather have 25 minutes where you're running and doing everything because your mind's active. That 3 hour sitting it's difficult.
It's true. I actually, when I was training to become a pilot, I managed to score a jump seat on a mail flight during the night on a short 360 back in northern Sweden.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember flying out of Sundsvall, where I'm from, flying down to Arlanda, and then the guys just kind of they left the aircraft there. They went into this little cafeteria, and then they just sat around, and we're talking like 2 o'clock at night local time. They sat until 4 or 5, just drinking coffee, same kind of dudes turning up all the days, obviously. And then they would just hook up with the aircraft again and fly back with the mail that was going on the return flight. And I really remember that those 4 hours were excruciating, just sitting there waiting.
It's painful. When I did only PAX flight, it was the same. When I have a 3 hour sit in the terminal, it's just like, it felt like forever. So yeah, now, luckily on the 747 we have bunks. So sometimes you'll go into the bunks, but there's people coming up and down the steps, and they're bringing catering on, and they need you to sign stuff, and they're banging around. So it's not like you really can get a rest, but so 2 to 3 hours would probably be the average of what it takes if you do more than one leg.
All right, that's cool. So talking about the loading and things, are you guys involved in loading at any stage? Like, do you supervise it, or is that all done by a loadmaster?
So the loadmaster is in control of everything. So what will happen is everything that's below, like there's the main deck, which is where passengers would be on a normal 747 passenger berth. There's that main deck, and we go and inspect that with a sheet, which basically says this pallet is going into this spot, and if there's anything that's high risk, things that you wouldn't put on a passenger aircraft that we may be taking, there's certain things that can't sit next to each other for fire risk. So we'll get a sheet and we'll check everything against that and verify that everything's in the spot that it's supposed to be, and then we'll go walk the deck, and we call it walking the deck. You basically just go in and check that all the cargo is loaded where it's supposed to be, and then it's all secured down so you don't have a cargo ship. For obvious reasons, that would be a problem.
Yeah. I think we all remember that horrible footage from the 747 that had the cargo shift in Afghanistan. I think it was military material that shifted, and like there was absolutely nothing those guys could do. So
yeah, the MRAPs, they moved, and so that's that is something. I just posted a photo a couple days ago when I was walking the deck on Instagram, and I mentioned how important it is to go and do that. So I always go, and it's very important that that's one of those things that the whole crew is relying on. You might have a crew for a load master and a mechanic that are all flying with you, and the load master is obviously responsible for it to make sure that it's done. But like everything in a two-pilot cockpit or a flight deck, you have you're a captain or a first officer, and you're checking to make sure the other guy's not missing something. And so I'll go and I'll walk, and you got to pay attention because the rest of the crew are depending on you to make sure that it's where it's supposed to be.
Oh, absolutely. So do you, during flight, is there a way for you to access the cargo hold to go and check, during the flight to make sure that everything looks all right?
So on the main deck, of a typical 747, there's no reason to ever go down there. So the only time is if we're transporting live cargo. So sometimes we'll be transporting horses or animals, and in that scenario we have handlers, and those handlers are responsible for doing that, and they'll come up and let us know, hey, we're going to go check on it, and then we have oxygen masks and things for them to take down there with them in case we get into a depressurization situation that they're not stuck without a mask. So they got portable O2 masks to take and go inspect, check on the horses or whatever.
Yeah. See, that's interesting stuff, because that's things that we, just flying passengers wouldn't think about, because obviously we have 4 masks on each set of rows, which means that there's always, even in the toilets, there are masks falling down. So if we have depressurization, that's all catered for. But of course, that's not the case if you're flying cargo. So that's a great point.
So yeah, on the upper deck we have the mask, and then obviously, obviously on the flight deck we got the mask there. But obviously in the cargo on the belly there is none. So.
And for the horses, big masks.
Yeah, big mask for the horses. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. So from one definitive difference that we can see right now is that obviously I am here in my t-shirt, you are there in your uniform, which means you are flying, I am not. So that will be at the moment a huge difference between being a cargo pilot and being passenger pilot. Are you seeing more work right now than usual?
Yeah, and a lot more, and that's because a lot of the airlines are used to moving freight in their bellies. When they're doing long flights, they're moving freight in their bellies, and obviously if they're not flying, they're not moving that freight. And because they're not moving that freight, someone's got to move it. And so it's going to the companies that move freight, and that is obviously increasing the demand a lot. And I'm actually starting to see some of the airlines here in the U.S. at least that are flying planes without any passengers with just belly freight, because the freight prices have gone up so much because the demand has come so high.
I did a video a few weeks back about that, what aircraft were actually flying still, and I mentioned that as a reason that the cargo flights are still there. And in fairness, in the beginning now, before we see a proper economical downturn, we'll probably see more freight and even passenger flying only for freight in order to kind of recoup a little bit of their income and keep their aircraft flying and their crews up.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really
up and running.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. What do you prefer then? I mean, have you flown passenger, like pure passenger flights?
Yeah, I've flown pure passengers on the 747. So we have a few passenger only 747s, and then I've flown obviously a few passenger or only passengers in different jobs that I've had. So I've done an only passenger job. I've done an only cargo job, and a mixture of both.
What do you prefer?
I like having the mixture, honestly, because the nice thing about when you're doing cargo is you get there, you get up to cruise, and then you put on like a hoodie, and if you're on a long flight, you'll put on like pajamas basically, because it's 12 hours and you're just hanging out in casual clothes. You don't have to ask for permission to go in and out of the flight deck. There's just a curtain there, so you want to go out and go to the bathroom, or go get a snack, or go get some food, or stretch your legs, you can do that without asking for permission, and that's really cool. And then when you do flights with people, and you got 17, 18, 20 flight attendants, and 400 something people, then that's fun as well, because you get to a layover and you have a huge group of people, and 3 or 4 are going to want to do what you want to do, so you're able to have a group of people to go out and do things with when you're on your layover. So I like the mix, and I think I would get bored if I was only doing one always all the time.
It's a great point. It's kind of what I'm saying with being a simulator instructor, that it's great to have a mix of different things, because you get to appreciate the differences in both. But before we go any further, I want you all to try to picture now Kelsey flying a 747 in his pajamas. I think that's very important that we all take that mental picture and savor it.
I've thought of, I think I have a photo somewhere, and I've done a few on like my Instagram stories where I'm just sitting in the back in the bunk, or talking, or making a quick video. I just have right now what I have in my bag is just a blue hoodie, which I've been flying with for probably too long. I probably need to get a new hoodie that I always fly with, but I fly with the same hoodie, and I fly with the hoodie for 2 reasons. One, a lot of times at upper deck gets cold. I like to put it over my head, and then I sometimes I'll fly with it on my head just to keep the sun from. Sometimes you're flying with the sun for 10, 11, 12 hours, so you have the sun banging on your neck, and so just for. I should probably wear sunscreen, but I just use the hoodie. I put the hoodie up over my head, and people make jokes and call me a gangster, but I don't care.
Yeah, you do have that gangster vibe around you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's my gangster vibe.
All of us gingers, we have that bit of a gangster vibe as we walk the streets.
Exactly.
I'm aware of how people are kind of moving away, and I think it is probably because of the gangster vibe.
Exactly.
What do you like? What do you like most? Do you like flying the normal 747 or the Dreamlifter? And is there any differences in between the two?
Yeah, there's some differences of how it handles, but to me it's very similar. And I've talked to some guys who say, "Oh no, it's a lot lighter on the controls," or to me it feels so similar. So maybe they're just better pilots than me, and they're able to notice the nuances. I flew it for over a year, and for me it's very similar. It rumbles more. It's obviously not as aerodynamic smooth as your normal 7.4, but it's essentially an old 7.4 where they just ripped out the middle and then built the shell for it. So it's definitely different. It's unique. I really honestly there's 4 in the world, and it's an honor to know, hey, I flew this thing, and I'm thinking when I'm like an old man, 80, sitting at the bar talking about I used to fly the Dreamlifter, people are going to be like, listen to this guy, old man telling stories, and they think I'm, totally lying, but whatever.
And that's what it's all about. It's about having the coolest stories when you're an old dude sitting by the bar. That's what we're all working towards,
Exactly.
What else was it? Yeah, you guys, I guess now, I know you did a video of when you reacted to the president, Donald Trump, as you were talking about the Dreamlifter, and you said that you're doing a bit of transporting of medical equipment at the moment.
Yeah. So something really cool that Boeing did is because they slowed down the production line, for obvious reasons. Seattle is one of the hotspots here in the U.S., so they slowed down the production, and as a result of that, they're using the Dreamlifter to transport, medical supplies, because obviously it's got the range and the capability. So they're able to put that, use that plane for something good. And so we got 4. I believe they gave 3 to the U.S. government to move whatever supplies they need to do, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's lovely to see big corporations take on that kind of responsibility, because I think that's what's going to need it now more than ever. And have you gone to China to pick up any of this goods, or have it been mostly within the U.S.?
So I haven't flown the Dreamlifter on one of those medical missions yet, because that just happened a couple of days ago. So I haven't picked up one of those planes yet. So I don't really even know where they're running to or what they're going to pick up. And I don't know, I guess we'll see if I get one of those flights or not. So where they're going to pick up all those supplies. I've been moving medical supplies just on our normal freighters. I haven't done one on the Dreamlifter since that announcement, I think, about 5 or 6 days ago.
Have you done any, because you guys are flying and you're sometimes flying into these hotspots and even into countries where there is now like a no-go zone where people are not letting other nationalities in, are there special procedures for you guys when you fly into the likes of South Korea or China or somewhere where they've closed the borders?
Yeah, so even where there's places where there's no-go, where you can't go as a passenger, they're still letting us go. So it's like a cargo cutout, because obviously they might have closed the borders, but they still need the freight to come in. It's been honestly a challenging thing for us and for the airlines, because there's been times where you've taken off and 10 hours later, during that 10 hours, the rules have changed and the crew lands and they're like, hey, it's a new rule, you're not allowed here. You're just like, I just flew 10 hours. Well, no, we want your cargo. We just don't want you need to leave. So it's been some of those really tricky situations. So it's an ever really fast-moving dynamic, which I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. And so there's that, and then there's places where you're getting sprayed. Something that's happening now in certain countries, they're requiring us to wear the mask when we get off or when we're moving around in public. There are certain requirements. Some places aren't requiring it. And then in China, especially at the peak, what was happening is they were having connection flights. So you'd go Incheon to Shanghai to Anchorage, and then you were just stopping. They were loading or unloading or whatever they needed to do, and then you'd continue on, and they'd put usually a heavy crew on there, so 4 pilots, and that way nobody was having to get off and move around inside China.
Yeah, all right. So have you? They haven't been spraying you guys, have they? With the disinfectants?
I have not been sprayed, but I know some guys who have been sprayed. Yeah.
I know it's crazy times that we're living in at the moment, and I fully understand that. What's happening here in Spain is horrendous, and what's happened in Italy as well, and what's happening in the United States right now. So I guess we're all going to just have to, like I've been saying on the channel for long now, comply with what the local regulations are. I have been in house arrest for 26 days now, and it looks like we're going to be here for another 2 weeks at least. We'll see when that happens to you guys.
It's strange. I mean, I was just flying into Amsterdam, I don't know, a week and a half ago maybe, and it's a very busy airport. There's a lot going on. The airspace normally in Europe has a lot going on, and I think we were somewhere over England, and they just said, you got this, the routing in Europe is, because the airspace is so tight, it's kind of indirect. And I think we were exactly. And we were somewhere over, I want to say somewhere close to London. And they said, hey, do you guys need to do that route, or do you want something more direct? I said, yeah, we'll take more direct. And it was like London direct to the initial port fix on the approach into Amsterdam. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's weird. You're coming in, nobody's on the radio. You coming in and landing, and it's just like, okay, go over here. Or you don't talk to anybody. It's strange. Very, very strange.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, I haven't been flying anything, so I've missed out on the whole quietness in the airspace, but I can, you can definitely tell that something is wrong when you are getting those kind of directs. I've heard stories about the airspace over, I think over Manchester was made into category G airspace, uncontrolled airspace, because there was no flights, not being allowed around there. So there's some weird things going on, and I just hope that we can get this under control and get back to business as soon as possible.
There were a few ATC centers in the U.S. that the center broke. There was a couple people that got corona in there. They shut down that center and they shut down the airspace around it. I think one was near Indiana, and they just had to vector all the planes around that airspace because they didn't have ATC coverage because there was nobody. That's nuts, right? That's great. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I just want you to take care of yourself. Stay safe out there, Kelsey. I hope to have you.
Alright guys, did you see that video? Okay, I want everybody on the camera right now. Everybody switch on their cameras, please. Okay, great. So, do you want to ask something first? Then I'll ask you questions. Anybody has any question? Alright, so now tell me why the captain can go out in a cargo flight I'm talking about. How come the captain can go out and move in the cabin without the permission? Otherwise, you guys know that in commercial aircraft, captains and the pilots are not allowed to come out in the cabin, right? What is the reason for that?
Because there is no passengers in
I can't hear you. No.
Because there is no passengers in it, and he said that there is no door, which separates the two sections.
Okay, yes. So basically, there is no passenger in the cabin. So if there is no passenger in the cabin, that means there is no hijacking threat. In short, we just avoid, the captains just avoid to come in the cabin, because if there are passengers, n number of passengers, we don't know who is the hijacker or who is not the hijacker. So everybody is suspect at that point of time. But when there is a cargo flight, there is no passenger in the cabin, so there is no such threat. Pilots can come out and they can move in the cabin. Alright? So they're supposed to be there for takeoff and landing, but if they want to eat something or they want to use the washroom, they can come out without anybody's permission. But in commercial aircraft, when the pilot wants to come out, the pilot only comes out if he wants to use the lavatory. Otherwise, he cannot come out and have a cup of coffee and eat his meal outside in the cabin. No, in commercial aircraft. And even if he wants to use the lavatory, even if he wants to use the washroom, he takes the cabin permission, then they block the exit and the pilot comes out and use the lavatory and go inside as soon as he comes out. So he's not allowed to be in the cabin for such long time. But in cargo flight, when there is no passenger in the cabin, then he can roam around and he doesn't need anybody's permission. Understood? Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, any doubt regarding these videos? Now everything should be clear, because I'm not going to repeat this. This cargo flight and commercial flight, you should know the difference between both of them, okay? So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Regarding cargo and commercial flight for today. Any doubts regarding that? No questions? Alright, so tomorrow maybe I'll show you the video on this military flights and all those aircrafts which the military has and what they does with those aircrafts, because they don't carry passengers, they don't carry cargo also. So what all do they carry and how do they operate those things? We will see a video on that tomorrow. Alright?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the question for today? No questions? Everything is clear between the cargo and the commercial?
Ma'am, we get answer, right? Like written answer. The difference between cargo and commercial.
Well, you just have to give the presentations only, because there will be no written exam. We cannot conduct a written exam in the online class. So what you guys have to do is you have to do presentations all the time once the topic is over.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, check your email.
Your voice is not clear, Krishna Prasad. You just write down the message if you can. Okay guys, so are you sure there is no question? CPL is the Commercial Pilot Training Program. Marvin asked me which license for commercial pilots. So once they're done their CPL, they get a license, and that license is depend on a particular type of aircraft they do the type rating, and then they can fly. So initially they have to do CPL, that is commercial pilot training, learning training, something like that. Okay, so if you have sent Krishna, if you have sent email ID, if you have sent your presentation on that email ID, we will get back to you on that. We will check and we will let you know tomorrow. Yeah, someone else was saying something, sorry.
Ma'am, the full form of CPL, can you repeat?
It's a Commercial Pilot Learning Program.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Any other questions? Alright, so I think we should call it off for today, and tomorrow I will see you at 2 o'clock and we will learn about the military aircrafts tomorrow. Okay? So even if you have any doubts regarding this session, you can listen. Alright. Thank you so much everyone. Have a very good evening. Okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.